her hooves. And I watched it, I was like, I'm hooked.
Nice.
Well, I tip my fez to you, sir, for your deeds.
All right, looks like we're all good to go now, so we'll see if we can get any more things in later. But
Thank you for all your input so far, and thank you guys for showing up. This is our first panel that we've ever done, so we thought we were going to have like 7 people show up, if any. So
a little bit more. But I guess to start off, my name's Chris. I go by the name Almighty Buddha online. Don't act like you know what it is, because I'm not famous or anything, but, you know. I guess how I started this all out, I've been a Brony since, like, season 2, actually. I caught right back up pretty quick. But I first saw it, I'm a gamer, so I get the Game Informer magazine and all that. And I'm reading, like, the letter to the editor things at the beginning, you know, and I come across this response here. And he's defending the whole My Little Pony thing, and he's like, oh, you know, Rainbow Dash did the Sonic Rainbow and like stare down dragons and like all these mythological creatures, and it sounds pretty awesome. I'm like, okay, that's, you know, I don't really understand that, but it sounds cool enough. And I kind of forgot about it for about a month or so, and then honestly do not remember how I found this, but I found a video online called the Intensive Pony Unit, and if any of you guys know, it's I think it's Intensive Care Unit, the original one, but it's like a pony music video of it, but they did pony sounds and all that, and it's really addicting. I think I watched it for like 6 hours straight one day. It was so I was like, okay, I need to see why this is so alluring. So I picked it up, and I'm a big fan of lore, like anything that's like deep and kind of like not really shown on camera but mentioned and all that. Like I really get into that kind of stuff. So like the storybook opening with like the old school painting, like mythological kind of stuff, like really hooked me. Like Once Upon a Time in Equestria, you know, the jealous sister overthrows everything. It just hooked me like from the first go. And I watched like 3-4 episodes a night, and by Hearthwarming Eve I caught up. Like so it was like a month. I had finished 2 seasons, and then I'm like, I have to wait a week for the next one. Like I can't do this, you know. So I somewhere along the line I found the fandom out of that. I was looking around like, where can I find more, you know? I found Equestria Daily and like all the other stuff. I'm like, there's a community of these people, you know. I just thought, you know, it was a couple random weirdos like that, you know, and I was one of them, but it's all good. And I found everyone. I found the community. It's really like, it's expansive, creative. Like everyone's just like generally a good person, and it really connected. I liked it.
Now for me, I just started watching spring of last year, thanks to this guy right here. We met at college, and you know, I was sitting there one day and I was like, you like ponies? And he says, yeah. And he was like, anything you like, anything, it can be turned into ponies. And I was like, okay. So he pulls up the opening to Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And I was like, he was like, check this out. And I'm like, okay, run it by me. I was like, all right, that's not so bad. You know, this isn't the first time I've been announced to it. You know, Pony Toasty's going to be hosting the podcasting panel. I worked with him. And he was hardcore. And he was like, you know, John Delancey's in. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, come over one day, we'll watch it. And I watch a few episodes. I don't even remember what. And I was like, I don't know, man. And, you know, I've seen it other times. And he's like, anything. So he sits me down and we watch, I think it was Party of One. And, you know, I'm like, okay, let me see another. And then Lesson Zero and Sonic Rainboom and all of those good ones. And I started liking it. So we started watching episodes here and there. And, you know, before I knew it, I was done season 1. I was like, all right, let's start season 2. And I also love cider. So when it got to the Super Cider, Spiny Squeezer, whatever the name is, tongue twister, I'm not good with those. You know, I had a few Angry Orchards with me. I was like, let's drink. Let's have some ciders. And that was a fun time. And then came my first BronyCon experience. It was his birthday last year, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a hotel." And I'm like, "Dude, I live 20 minutes from the convention center. Come stay with me. I'll go with you for your birthday." And he's like, "All right, thanks." So I go, and I'd never run into any other bronies other than him. And seeing the fandom and how nice everyone is. And I've been to other cons, but I'd never found any group of people as accepting and nice and friendly and as awesome as the bronies. I was like, okay, this is getting better. And so now I'm still, over the past year, I've been coming to terms with it, and I guess I can officially say in public now, I am a brony, and I am personally come down to the stable. And I'm president of a fraternity. So, there's all these stigmas about how I'm supposed to be masculine. I was at the masculinity is friendship is masculine?
Friendship is manly.
Friendship is manly. There we go. It's been a long day. And, it's like, I completely relate with this. But yeah, so they still don't know. They don't need to know until I tell them, and whatever may come. I'm still the president, so they have to put up with me for another year. So, mainly the point, why be so scared of being a brony? What is so scary about doing it?
I'll take it from here. The biggest thing is everyone gets all worked up. It's like, oh, I like this show. I'm not supposed to. It's like, you can like what you want, people. Like, who says you have to listen to other people on what you like to do? I don't know. I've always found that just perplexing. I've always felt like if you like it, I mean, as long as you're not like directly hurting someone else with it, like why does it matter? So just like it, jeez. I mean, and it's not like you're the only person out there. There was an estimated 7 to 12.4 million bronies out there, just all across the world. Statistically, there's got to be one somewhere near you. So
we're working on that. We have a place out in the middle of the Pacific. We're building it right now.
So Man with the Golden Gun, James Bond movie where he has that island? Just think about it.
There will be ice cream socials every Friday.
I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear it because the audio is not working on it, but yeah, there are worse things. Oh, come on.
I didn't know it was a video before, so.
Okay, we're going to use our imaginations again.
Just remember, it's Fox News, so it shouldn't be too hard.
If most of you have probably seen the red light or the red eye report on this with the baby man and blah blah, and how they're these people are just. Exactly. He says there's worse things than terrorism, and someone did it's official. We're not as bad as terrorism and stuff. I feel really sad now because that was really funny.
The internet's not working.
Yeah. So. I'm not sure. I feel like they do these because this was really early in the fandom. I think it was. Maybe, but that's not what we're here for.
They felt like since they reported on it so early, they felt like, hey, we can take this, we can turn it into something we can keep reporting on as it gets bigger, and we can keep making it seem like it's getting worse and worse and worse.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's the whole first reporting thing that news people like to do, but.
Well, if anything, I'd say it kind of blew back in their faces at this point. If we have 7 to 12 million of us.
All right, in case that doesn't change anybody's minds out there, I have a few things that bronies have done over the years, and first off is the amount of charity that we've put together. I've been pretty part of these actually for a little while now, but the Bronies for Good, the Brony Thank You Project, the Kiki's Recovery Fund was another big one. All you guys know anything about these at all? Yeah, okay.
No?
That's the one. I was missing something. I couldn't think of what it was. But yes, there's tons of them. I don't have the numbers on me, but gotta be in the millions by now.
We love helping people.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, he's here at the con, isn't he?
They had a meet and greet earlier.
Oh, I missed that.
At Everfree Northwest, there was like a $20,000 donation alone towards the children.
So there you go.
$20,000 donation.
I'm not making this up. There was
Yeah.
$20,000
That's amazing.
item.
Yeah, that's just the amount of charity that we put together for just good causes alone is worthy enough to be proud of.
I mean, we're ridiculously creative. I mean, you've seen all the art. You know, we have a traveling pony museum. I mean, that's pretty cool. The fact that we have BronyPalooza, that, you know, it's the fact that we're able to create a 1.7 earthquake because we make music so good that many people want to jump and dance to it. It's pretty awesome. And then all the fan animations, you know, that's blown my mind when he was showing me all, like, you know, the fan animations, you know, Project Rainbow and all that, and the Double Rainbow.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, Flufflepuff. You guys, I don't know if you guys saw the line for
Flufflepuff,
that
yeah.
today. You know,
You should have seen the Flufflepuff panel. The room was full.
that's
We were in that line thinking it was to the BronyPalooza.
yeah, that's how it
And
was.
we're just
so,
like,
It stretched from 1 inch all the way down to the other end.
like
it was-
it's, you know, it's the fact that, you know, all these normal people that just have a love for something are so creative and everyone's so receptive and so, like, lifting up. You know, we got the fanfics, you got the animations now, everything. It's crazy. Yeah.
And then, yeah, like we said, there's like you can just come in here from any walk of life, be a brony, and everyone's just like, hey, you're your best buds, like just meeting up. You find someone with a shirt that you recognize, and you talk for 20, 30 minutes just because you don't know these people. You just walk up to them and you just
It's the kindness of strangers here that really got.
Exactly. Not to mention all the free hugs you can get here. I've seen, you know, we got this man right here. He's giving out free hugs. Make sure you see him. And there's a guy that was giving free shrugs yesterday. I don't know if he's. I'll give you one.
He's still giving them. He gave me one.
Awesome. Well, you just got another.
There was a Flufflepuff at Everfree Northwest that was given a line hug.
All right. It's pretty much supposed to be like how to tell your friends, I guess, is the best way to put this. The thing is, if you want to start with your friends, in my opinion, if you're gonna, like, I guess, come out of the stable, because first off, there's no real generation gap. If you're friends, you have some commonality in there. You like the same things. You do have the same hobbies or something. But from that, you can kind of expand from the same interests and find, fan art or something that connects the two, kind of like a bridging the gap, so to speak. And that's how I actually got him into it, was like, you find something you like, and you're like, well, we did that too. Like, it's kind of a transitional thing.
Common interest.
Yeah.
True friends will still be your friends. I've had no one, like, when I told them, yeah, I like My Little Pony, they're like, okay, that's different, but I don't think of you any less because of it. I'm like, awesome.
But yeah, I've done that. I've told, actually, no, all my friends now. That's right. I tell them, I'm like, yeah, I'm a brony. And some of them are like, what's that? And I'm like, well, now I have to explain all this. But most of them, they're nerds like me, so they've seen the internet. They know kind of what it is, and they're like, well, whatever. They heckle me all the time, but,
Yeah. I mean, like, after my BronyCon experience last year, I went back to my D&D group with my Pinky Portal shirt on, and my DM was like, your turn, Brony. And I was like, hey, that's not cool. And he says, I'm playing with you, man, but you're still a brony. It's like, whatever.
So you roll dice on thick skin and say, I just shrug that off. But
Nat 20, and I'm good.
But no, yeah, like, you kind of have to just expect, like, you kind of have to roll with the punches, at least for a little while, because eventually you're going to turn them. Let's be honest. It's a whole war of attrition on it. Eventually they'll be like, you know what, I'll watch some of these episodes, if anything, just to make fun of you, like, specifically for things, and then they come to you head hang low, and they're like, yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
And so,
I definitely didn't start it, watching them seriously, but.
and then the next big one I always thought was the big one, is always to tell your parents. Because eventually you're going to want a t-shirt or a plushie or something, and there's not that much room in your closet to hide all this stuff.
I'm running out of room in the box I have in my room with all my pony stuff in it, so.
But yeah, the thing is, there is a pretty big generation gap. They grew up with the original series, the Gen 1, maybe 2, somewhere in that area. And from their original conceptions, it wasn't that good. It was just targeted to sell the toys. That's all it was. It didn't have any real goal for the TV show except for figures for the new line. So it wasn't good. It was very girly. You know, everyone's seen the 3.5 debacle. Yeah, I actually have to go over there and be like, yo, but you know, that's after this. We should all go, actually. Let's all just run up there and say hi after this. But they have that original conception of it. It's the first impression they had, and they just stick with it. If you're lucky enough to get them to watch one, usually they come around a little bit, but they still but it's the show that I know, and it was just horrible, don't like it or anything. And like I said, they don't understand the appeal behind it because the community is also another thing. Personally, I like the community almost as much as the show itself. I think it's a 50-50 on that. Like, the people behind it is just as much the reason I like it than the show. And they don't, parents, at least my parents, I don't know, I'm not going to make assumptions here, but my parents, they don't do all that. It's they use the internet for, strictly business and stuff. I use it more as a, communicational thing, the networking and all that. So I have friends like that. They don't do friends too much like that. It's more FaceTime, I guess.
Well,
And
you're lucky your parents know how to use the internet, Chris. My parents do not.
well, then
My father yells at his phone, "Hey Google, okay Google, give me the directions." Bing. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. And he'll yell at it for 5 minutes until I'm like, just give it here. So I won't, he just found out this weekend. He was like, yeah, where are you guys going? I was like, BronyCon. He's like, My Little Pony. He says, what? I'm like, yeah, we're going to a My Little Pony convention. He says, oh, all right. He's pretty accepting because, I've been a nerd for a long time, and he's anime and all the other stuff, so metal music, there could be worse things I'm doing, he figures.
terrorism.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you guys right now, when they first saw me, I got my sister in on it because I was like, this is awesome, it came on Netflix, and so I was like, let's watch something. So she watched it for a while, and she enjoyed it, but she never really connected with it, I guess. She kind of faded out. But so we're just sitting there watching, I don't remember what episode it was at the time, and they just kind of come in and see it, and they're just like, And from what I heard, they thought I was on drugs for the longest time.
It's the hair.
Which, I guess it kind of makes sense. It's colorful, nice.
Well, that might have been why my dad was so accepting of it, because he's a child of the 70s, but...
But yeah, I don't know. They thought it was on drugs for the longest time, and I'm just like, no, that's not it. And they don't understand it. I inject ponies into my veins. Yeah, I don't know, but it just. But yeah, so honestly, if you manage to tell your parents and they're cool with it, power to you. Honestly, they'll accept it because you're their kid, but don't expect them to be on board 100%. Just
Slow change is the best one. Slow. I'm drawing a blank on the word, but
I've really loved this picture. It was just, I think it was for 4th of July or something. Someone drew this. I was just like, I don't know. It just has the perfect amount. But really, what it comes down to is you don't have to run around yelling that you're a brony to everyone you see or anything like that. All you have to do is just generally be like, I'm a brony, and I just, that's me. You don't try to hide it, don't deny it or anything like that. You really just, you just, when someone asks you, you don't want to just be like, what's that? No, you're just like, yeah, no big deal. You know, that's the biggest way. That's the most positive response to it at all, because then it's not a big deal to you that you are, so it's not a big deal to them. I found that's the best way to go about it, because you're proud of it, you accept it, and because of that, they'll accept it as well. And honestly, if anyone here is like kind of hiding it from people, it's just horrible. You don't want to hide things, like that's you. You don't want to hide that from other people. You just, when you finally are just like, this is me, you either accept it or you don't, like that just feels so much better than trying to hide like who you are. So, yeah, tell other people about that, because, you know, that's not a way to live.
There was a really good quote from the anime Gurren Lagann about believing. Do you know, Chris, off the top of your head?
It's like, don't believe in me who believes in you. Believe in you who believes in you.
That sums it up perfectly.
So, yeah. I don't know if we have any more time for stories or questions or anything, but if anybody wants some. Well, that's like for 2 people, maybe.
All right.
Okay. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think we had that much time. Okay. Well, I guess we got some time for the, yeah, I'll take that guy over in the corner there.
Hello. So I
Hello.
just
Hey.
speak about how I came to know the show or whatever. Just about. All right. So basically, the first time that I had found out about the show, I was at this thing called a pool league function, is what you do before you join the Marine Corps and stuff like that. And I met Ben Shank, and he is the one who showed the show to me. And at first I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, what kind of friends do I have? Like, and so, you know, he's like, all right, just watch another one. And I was like, okay, so whatever. I watched another one, and, you know, I went home that night, and I watched my own episode, and I kept on watching episodes, and I called Shank. I was like, Shank, I think I'm a brony. Like, you know, and so after that, you know, a couple months later, joined the Marine Corps, and now, you know, living in the barracks, it's really super hard to keep my merch and stuff out, because last time I had it out, like, the sergeant major came by and inspected our rooms, and he's like, Strunk, what is this? Like, freaked out, and I was like, oh my God. So, you know, you kind of have to keep it on the down low, but, you know, I still put my merch out during, you know, the day. But, you know, military brownie here, just, you know, it's hard, but I still love the show, and I don't care, you know. It's good to go.
Thank you for your service, man. You know, my brother's a Marine too, so I definitely know where you're coming from
guess,
living in the barracks and stuff. So.
Chrysalis and Pink Shirt. I actually have a story about that I saw somewhere. There was a drill sergeant that was a brony. I think it was on EQD like a year ago. But he's yelling at like the new recruits, and he's like, you know, sound off, and just yelling at them louder and all that. And then he was just like, yay. And then he was, and he stared at him for the longest time, and he was like, you are now Private Fluttershy. And that's how he was known for the entire time. But, yep.
So my story is actually really ironic, because, you know, growing up, there were the My Little Pony toys. I wasn't really interested in them. I wanted like a real horse. Santa never gave it to me. How rude. So when I go into college, a lot of my male friends are into ponies, and they're like in their own little corner on their computers on 4chan, like, you know, having fun, laughing. I'm like, what you guys doing over there? And they're like, it's My Little Pony, it's awesome. I'm like, oh, all right, thanks for including me. So eventually I noticed that my boyfriend has a little, you know, Rainbow Dash sticker on his mini fridge, and I'm like, you want to watch some ponies? So we start like the first episode, and my expectation was it for something that stereotypically adult males would enjoy. You know, I've seen Happy Tree Friends and different animes, so the art did not tip me off. I was waiting for the mature content. I was like, is Rainbow Dash supposed to be a lesbian? What's going on here? So yeah, it's really funny, and like I go back to my friends in college, and I'm like, yeah, I started watching that My Little Pony show. They're like, oh, how far did you get? I'm like, oh, I watched the first 2 seasons. And at the time, that's all that came out. And he's like, oh, you watched them all? I'm like, oh, that's it. So, and I have gotten a little bit, on the flip side, some bronies are like, you can't be a brony because you're a girl. And I'm like, but I like it too. So it's, it's a little bit of flip side. It's an amazing show regardless of what gender you are, what age you are. And, being a brony is not the only thing that I've had to come out of the closet from. I have a sexual orientation that most people don't even know exists. I had to come out of the broom closet as a witch. So the best thing is to just be forward about it, educate people. There's a lot of ignorant people out there. And, they say some really offensive things, and you need to say, no, we're not all like 40-year-old men living in our mother's basements watching pony porn or whatever. We're actually really nice people, and it's okay.
Well, thank you. I applaud you to all your adversity coming out on all your stuff. And
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, so. Is this working? Okay, it's working. Although I could probably just volume it out anyways. Okay, so I got into it summer 2011. I think that's the proper year. So between seasons 1 and 2. And so a little bit earlier, I'd sort of seen a few people mention it on Facebook and stuff. And then, this is sort of an interesting story. So this was the first cartoon that was targeted primarily at girls I was able to get into because, don't know how obvious it is, but I'm a trans girl and I used to live as male, so that was sort of off limits. And this was a little bit after I'd realized, so it's like, okay, I might actually look at this if I'd gotten interest. And so then I saw PMV of I'll Make a Man Out of You, which is like one of the best PMVs ever. It also gives you, if you haven't watched the show, it gives you the very wrong idea that Rarity's the top dog of the group, which is pretty funny to think about, but yeah, that was interesting. And I just kept hearing about this from a trans group that I was in, from everybody. But it was mostly trans men and non-binary dominated. So you'd think, okay, if there's anybody who would really dislike the show from a stereotype standpoint, you would think it would maybe be trans guys because it's targeted towards little girls. And the fact that they were saying, no, this is really awesome, says, okay, this goes across boundaries. So I finally decided to watch it, and I did, and I really liked it.
awesome. All right, so
Oh, you got your hands.
Mr. Meow Hat, Mr. Meowgie.
All right, well, I'll tell how I sort of became a brony myself. I used to be like a jock. I used to love sports and everything, and I would have that little bit of a feminine side. I would like cute kittens sometimes. I would like cuteness. It was nice. So anyways, I was just hanging out with one of my nerd friends, after I got done playing sports, and I guess basically hating actually on ponies because I didn't really like them at first. But my friend showed me this really cute picture of Derpy, and I was like, oh my God, that is the cutest picture I have ever saw. So I was like, when I got home, I'm like, I'm gonna watch the show. I'm gonna see what it's like. So I watched the first 3 episodes, and I was like, this is sort of stupid, And then I stopped watching after a couple months, and my friend's like, so have you watched any more episodes? And I was like, no. He's like, do it. And I was like, so I started watching more, and after I started watching a little bit more, I was on season 2, and I was talking to myself, and I was like, well, I can consider myself a brony, but I'll keep it sort of secret. I won't get a Facebook page or hats or shirts or bracelets, and here I am now.
All
Oh, you got it.
I actually fell into the fandom kind of backwards. I found the community first and didn't know the show had come back. Someone I know and follow on the internet really well had his desk adorned with Applejack and would wear like t-shirts. I'm like, the heck is he doing? What? So I was at my local convention fan expo back in 2012. I'm like, oh my God, this merch is awesome. What is all this nonsense? And I just kind of found the Brony community before the show. And I found the show, I started watching, and at this point, we had just wrapped up season 2. And I'm like, all right, season premiere, winter wrap-up, Return of Harmony, and Canterlot Wedding were my first episodes. And it's like, oh my God, this day Aria.
That's when I knew. After I heard that, I was like, I am a brony.
Yeah. And then it got to the point where I like volunteered for my local Toronto Brony convention, Canterlot, and was able to meet a lot of cool people there, have weekly meetups, play the CCG, and just talk fandom. And as I'm sure is mentioned, I have not found a better community that is just so accepting. And like I've been nerd geek my entire life. Like I have a Star Wars tat, and my next one is either Harry Potter or Rainbow Dash. So
If you combine them.
yeah, this is by far the greatest fandom / community I have ever found.
All right, anyone else? All right, we got a couple over there. Right there, right in front of you. And him, yeah, it's right there. And then you can pass it back to him right after. And we'll get you next.
So back at season 1, all my friends were bronies, except me. I was very resistant. I didn't want to get near it. I even got trapped in my friend's house, and he forced me to watch season 2, episode 1, and I thought, oh, this was like the best that you can throw at me. I ain't changing. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm at college. My roommates moved out, so I'm like, yes, I've placed myself. This is awesome. What am I going to do with it? I found one of those Jay Holler videos, top 10 pony videos of the month. I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. Let's let's just like watch one episode and see how far that goes. Fast forward 3 seasons, I just stumble out of my room and I'm like, what just happened? And my cousin just called me and she's like, hey, how's your day? And at the end of the conversation, I'm like, by the way, I'm a brony. She's like, what was that? And I'm like, it's a person that likes some mile up. Like, oh my gosh. And I mean, that was like the best way. I mean, it's just nice falling back on people that accept you in that. I mean, that's real nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
What do you do if most of your friends are a little bit older or younger than you? The reason I got into MLP was because I was already super alienated. Just about everyone I know doesn't share my interests. I live in a community where there's not a lot of people my age, so I'm mostly hanging out with people older than me. And when I mention this, and some of these people are super weird, like weirdo hippies and just all the freaks, And so naturally I try and like go to those people and tell them about it. And the first thing they ask is, I've never heard of the original My Little Pony. And some of these people are Gen Xers, and they still haven't. What? I don't watch television. And then the next thing they say is, let us never speak of this again. Do yourself a favor. And it's almost like crushing, Mm-hmm. So, so I only know one brony in real life, and he got shipped off to the Navy. So he's still a brony, but. So what do you do if really you don't know anyone who you would feel comfortable telling
I mean, you could always try and find like a meetup in your area of other local bronies. I mean, even if it's not the people you generally hang around with, you can always find new people. You know, just even if the people they don't want to hear about it, you know, it's you. So you can't. I mean, you don't want to hide who you are or try and like reject that part of you just because they don't see your point of view. I mean, if they're a little older, they're probably from a different time, and they're a little more resistant to change. But, like, I feel you can always chip away, slowly as it might take, and as slow as it might be, as long as it might take. You know, I feel like if slow, gradual, you know, and then even if you can't change them, you might even just be able to get them to the point where they're at least accepting of what you like.
Yeah, I think the main reason I got into the fandom was I was already feeling alienated because I had been, you know, basically ragged on throughout my childhood. You know, I was like, you know, one of the nerds, and so I never really, you know, I didn't feel like telling people that I was a brony would just make it worse. So, you know.
I mean, I've had that fear myself. You know, I haven't really run into that personally yet. But, I mean, stay true to your conviction and have the courage to follow your convictions. As, you know, if that among all else will do wonders. I mean, maybe not on the subject of bronies itself, but they'll respect you more for the fact that you stand up for what you like and what you believe in. All right, we're going to the guy in the far back corner. I promised him. He's been waiting patiently.
So I started watching the show in 2010 when it first came out. I call it like episode 3 was when I first started watching, and it's kind of weird. I didn't really like it at first. I was like, why are there like dancing ponies across my screen? Because what actually happened was I was just flipping through channels and the remote died, and I was too lazy to get up and turn the channel. So I'm like, what's the worst that can happen?
I think you liked it.
So yeah, I started back in that, and I was in 9th grade then, and I just graduated high school this year. So yeah, after about like 3 episodes, I was kind of hooked on it. And at first, I didn't really want to say it because I'm like, I had no idea. It was so new. I didn't even know the community was a thing until like 4 months in. So, but I was like, what's the worst that could happen? So I gave it a shot, and I mean, I'm known as like the biggest brony in my entire school, and people would just kind of walk up to me randomly and be like, hey, what happened on the newest episode? So I made a lot of friends in my high school about it, and I mean, I'm heading to college in 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'll be bringing it there. I bought a bunch of posters. So,
you'll find someone,
yeah.
I guarantee you.
So.
All right. I was going to say her back there. Right, yeah. We'll work our way back up. How much time do we have left, by the way?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the other side of the story. I'm the mom of a brony. Actually, I think I'm a mom of 2 bronies now. And my youngest son just graduated from high school also. And about 2 years ago, he goes, Mom, I want you to see this thing on the internet. And he goes, do you know what a brony is? I go, no. And so anyway, I credit him for at least bringing up the conversation. And so we talked about what it is, and I'm still kind of like, well, it's a girls' show, right? Because I never saw the first version. So we had to kind of walk through what the show was. He showed me a couple of episodes. I go, yeah, they are pretty cute. Now, why do you like them? And so we went through the process for about a year trying to figure out, okay, what is this? And I said, well, do you know any friends that are bronies? No. I said, okay. And so at that point in his high school, he really wasn't open to talking about that with his high school buds. Yeah. But in the course of me mentioning it to someone that I knew, she goes, oh, yeah, my boyfriend's a brony. I'm like, oh, okay, so tell me, what does he do with this? And so we kind of progressed on that. And he decided on his own, he wanted to come to BronyCon last year. So he and Dad came last year. And so this year, Mom comes too, because After just this past year, I've looked at the show a little more. My older son's gotten into it now. And I actually teach at a college in Florida. And my son is going to that same college. So we're kind of working out a plan to maybe start, a Brony club or something like that.
Well, that's awesome.
Daytona State College.
All right, you want to choose the next person, Chris?
See them.
Right down in front. Okay. So
No, I'll get you next. I got you.
All right, so back in 2011, if you told me that I'd be a huge fan of My Little Pony now, I would have called you crazy and laughed in your face. So I stumbled upon this internet chat room full of bronies. I'm like, what's a brony? And they tell me, and I'm like, no way. There's no way that's ever going to catch on. Then another day, I'm on YouTube, and I randomly come across this PMV of one of my favorite songs, You're Gonna Go Far Kid by The Offspring, featuring Rainbow Dash, and it uses the episode Sonic Rainboom.
Yeah.
So I watch it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it looks pretty good. So I go ahead and just give it a chance and watch Sonic Rainboom. Instantly hooked. So I start back on episode 1, and just keep going up. So I finished season 2 in like about 2 weeks. Then here I am now. So yeah, that's how I became a brony.
All right, he's the one way in the corner. Sorry for making you run there, but actually, from what I've gathered, like the ones where the ponies go, one standing, sorry. But the ones where the ponies go crazy and Sonic Rainboom seem to be the ones that are like the introductory ones for some reason. I think just because Crazy Ponies are like, well, this is nothing like the other shows that what I thought it was going to be. I think Megan McCarthy just does great with that, I guess. And then, I don't know, Sonic Rainboom. I think Sonic Booms with Prismatic Pony just equals awesome, I guess. But yeah, you still want to go back there? Okay.
Let's give our guy another round of applause because he's been running around this panel constantly. He does not get enough credit. He's like, he ran from one side to the other, and I didn't realize it. I'm like, you were just, but right back there.
We need to get him a cookie or something. 2 cookies? All right. Well,
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah,
as long as there's no cupcakes.
Thank you. I'm actually not a My Little Pony fan. I'm not a brony whatsoever. I am, however, just like the woman who's already left, a pony parent, so to speak. And now I came on this late, and this is coming out of the closet as a My Little Pony fan, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to share something with you, and I'd like you guys to listen very carefully. As a pony parent, it was difficult to see my son as a brony fan, and took me a little while to warm up to it. Okay, not that I'm objecting to it. I just didn't understand it at first. Why a boy who's as tall as I am wants to watch My Little Pony? Okay, naturally it's a little weird, I thought. But I have a little daughter who too watched the show, and I got to share something with you, and it's really important. Okay, it's not about coming out of the closet just for yourself. This is what I truly believe this. It's not about coming out for yourself, because what I witnessed with my own children while watching the show was kind of touching and has changed their lives as brother and sister. Now, you're going to have to help me with this, fans. Who are the brother and sister ponies? They sang a song once. Yes, that's it. Okay, that song. My daughter would watch that and rewind it, watch that and rewind it, watch that and rewind it. I mean, several times, to the point where I really enjoyed the song, all right? And then my son watched the show, or watched that song. And the way that they treat each other now has changed. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about just coming out of the closet as a brony fan. It's about the ability to share it with your friends, because guess what's going to happen if they watch it? You know what's going to happen if they watch it. It's happened to you. Have you not taken something positive away from the show? Something very positive, right? I mean, the whole show is positive, and that's why I really appreciate that. So if you could take anything from what I'm sharing with you today from my own experience as a parent, that even though it may be difficult and may be challenging for you as a brony or a fan of the show, it's really worth sharing because of that. Because you could also change somebody's lives in a good way, because we all have that ability. So, thank you.
Thank you. See, we told you guys in the book that it was at least one part motivational speaking. That was that right there. All right.
Anyone? Yes. Yeah, what kind of muffin do you want? I'm going to get you one tomorrow. Yes, raise your hand so I know.
It was a difficult first 3 times to watch it with my son. He's 20 now, but we started to watch probably a year ago. It was a lot of, we learned from a very trustworthy friend, respectful friend, that he has that sticker on his computer. So we take a look. I have a problem with Barbie doll. So you know how the theme song remind me so much of Barbie and Barney, that color. So, but you know, to stay connected with my son and see what he's into. I know he stay late at night, watch and laugh, and then he will watch with me again. So I kind of just ride along, just trying to understand that. But I get hooked because it's okay. It's great to just take away the stereotype part that you project you don't like, and just laugh out loud. It's simple and laugh out loud, and there's something beautiful in there, make your heart soften. And another thing we really like is a lot of beautiful music. A lot of, trying or a lot of great music, both existed and both are appreciated. And I think that's just a wonderful thing for human to, light heart, try, goof around, and some really excellent music. And he has played huge playlists on his old iPod. And when we're driving, he always played that. And I can't believe everything I was like falling asleep, and I was like, what's that music? Pony music. Everything I asked was like pony music. Yes, there are some not so great, not to my liking, but there are so many wonderful music. Eye-opening, ear-opening, Russian music. All kinds of styles. And they just broaden the horizon. So yes, we go around when people say, pony? I say, yeah. and I just you don't have to defend yourself.
Exactly.
If they don't get it, they don't. Like when you don't get it, you don't. But when you are ready to open up, it's kind of fun. And there's nothing heavy about it, not too much. And you always laugh. And I think what impressed me is not just the show, the effect, but I feel there's somebody behind that show. I could feel their thinking behind that show.
Exactly.
And that impressed me. And that just makes me happy to think people making the show really care about these characters, and really care about this fantasy they connect everybody together. And I think the music thing is wonderful. They were playing there out, with the cello, no, not the cello, the bass and guitar and singing.
Yeah.
And just to see people make that effort to learn all those songs, it's pretty, I like it.
Thank you.
She gets it. That's exactly what it's all about here.
So my question is, does Brony has a gender or just the fan? Everybody?
No,
Become.
the misconception that it's got to be male fans, but it isn't. It's a gender neutral thing, but because the male fans are like such the big upset, like everyone just assumes Brony means like middle-aged man. It's for any gender. It doesn't matter.
Just take on the last bit of that is I've been going to Connecticut, which is in Hartford, the pop culture, the same. I don't get into gaming and everything. I like to enjoy everybody has creativity and share that out. So when I get to the last Connecticut, which is the past July, was like gender thing is just a mess. Don't even think about that. Every individual, like in the beginning, I think Rainbow Dash must be a boy, like the way she behaved. And it's just, who cares? Each character is a character, and you like them the way they are. It doesn't matter. You don't need to try to label it. And I think for that sense, the team who made the show did an excellent job. Just to blur the boundary, but show the essence.
They're all great people. I mean, we had the opportunity to meet a couple of the writers, M.A. Larson and Amy Keating-Rogers last year, and they were just so overwhelmingly nice and knowledgeable, and you know, they had a very good sense of humor about some things. They saw Amy Keating-Rogers played her ukulele and sang us "You Are My Sunshine" and informed us of how morbid that song really is. Never realized it until you hear all the verses and you're like, this is a...
We sing that to our children. Just think about that for a second.
All right, I think we're
I
out of
think that's it
time.
now.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.